moments as well. So it was fun. But that's what we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about Destiny. Destiny, Destiny, Destiny. I feel like we've had a few of these shows, but Taken King comes out next week. Next Tuesday. And I can't wait. So I thought this would be a great episode to kind of...
I'm not going to
Uh,
wait.
oh,
Crucible maps launch tomorrow.
I'm so excited. We'll get into the Crucible stuff later on in the show, though. The very first thing that I want to kind of talk about is I want to reminisce on year one, as well as talk about year two. And I thought the first thing that we could talk about was story. Story.
Yeah.
We've awoken the hive,
Yep.
and then the eyes. That's about
love-
You're interesting. You're interesting, sort of.
not too interesting.
Not too interesting, but
but
I'm not going to
interesting.
kill you. I think
Yeah.
maybe.
So I thought let's tackle the biggest pitfalls of the story first. Besides the obvious pitfall of story? Question mark?
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think could have been done with the story to make it better?
Put the grimoire in the game.
Put the grimoire in the game. Now, when you say put the grimoire in the game, do you mean just have those cards open and available, or do you mean like throw freaking
Honestly,
cutscenes?
if they had just made it so that you could access the cards in game, it would have solved a lot of people's issues. And they're doing more than that, obviously, with the expansion. But if they had just simply made it so that as you access the grimoire, as you earned a grimoire card, it didn't just show on the bottom of your screen like grimoire card acquired. Boop. And what the hell do I do with it now?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Where is this grimoire card?
If you could actually
Is it in
look
my
it up,
inventory?
that would have been a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. But that's something that they're implementing in 2.0.
Yep.
Which is exciting. So at least they're listening.
Yeah.
Sam, what do you think? Do you agree? Biggest pitfall is the grimoire not being in the game.
Well, this is an interesting point because I think having played games with good story content with Chris together, he is the type of person who's going to go in and read this stuff. I would not have done that. In fact, like the thing that made Assassin's Creed in general, plus Black Flag, was I would play the game, see some cool stuff, and then like Chris would come back 2 hours later and be like, oh, "Did you see all this cool stuff that happened in all of the like text that I read?" And I'm like, "No, tell me more."
Yeah, I could just kind of fill him in on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, Grimoire and Game would have been great because then Chris would have told me what happened. Other than that, I think it's hard because I think they tried, and I think there's part of me that says, "Hey, look, there is story type content, right?"
I think a lot of the rumors are just that. I think that like there's always been that oh my god, I can't think of the word. Not a rumor, but a like just a wide held belief by everybody, or a conspiracy theory that they stole all of the story out of the game to only release during the expansions. And I really don't think they did. I really think their storylines were just so screwed up, and they changed the story so much that they couldn't get it re-recorded in time, and they just launched it with the story incomplete, and they screwed up. To be honest, that's me being honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if we take it from beyond the first release, right? I could even go back and say, look, with The Dark Below and with House of Wolves, like, as much as people complained about Dinklebot, like, if they had really planned all of this from the beginning, like, Dinklebot wouldn't have been an omission, I don't think. I don't think they would have been like, man, he did such a bad job, we're just not going to put the ghost in. I think they were like, you know what? We kind of missed the mark with him. Let's not, like, throw good money after bad, and let's just try to do it with Eris Morn, with whatever the girl's name is for the other thing, and all, and everyone else. So
what bothers me is that I feel like they spent more money on getting these really well-known actors like Nathan Fillion, like Peter Dinklage, Gina Torres, and Bill Nighy, and all these people. But it's like, oh, you know, we can't really pay you to talk that much. So...
Well, they did say, I mean, like, Fillion went on record saying that he recorded way more lines that are in it. He recorded, like, pages of dialogue. Whole, like, pages and pages of dialogue. Not just, like, 1 or 2 lines like he has in the actual thing.
Yeah.
I think the problem was, again, that the story kept changing.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah. And then they didn't know what to do with the factions properly. They really, you know, because they streamlined everything to make it more of just a shooter. And I mean, really, yeah, I agree. I think everyone agrees. Everyone knows they dropped the ball in the story. We're giving them this shot with this expansion to really bring it so the story comes back because...
Well, this is like the 3rd shot we've given them because that's exactly what we were saying right before Dark Below came out. We're like,
yeah, but each individual
I feel like this will be the story.
Each individual thing has had a good story. Like the Prison of Elders had a decent... They added the reef. They added some more stuff. You saw some more cutscenes. There was a story there. The problem was it was sitting on top of a pile of poop. So, you know, if you put a cracker that's tasty on top of a pile of dog crap, it's not really going to be a tasty cracker. I'm just saying.
As the other 2 people on this stream are dog owners, we know how that goes.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's a real concern.
And I think that brings me to something else that I was thinking about as I was watching the latest Twitch reveal and just kind of thinking about all of the Twitch reveals as we go into year 2 is that, you know, I think the true challenge for them was, and I think some of this is that, like, we've given them a chance before thing, is at the end of the day, they basically tried to give us Destiny 2 without resetting into a Destiny 2 environment. Of completely new game, completely new everything, and then like you carry over some data from your saves. So I think that there, in my mind, I never really thought about it that way, and I don't think I ever gave them enough credit for doing it that way because they're trying to create a persistent environment, and that's not easy. And sometimes in a persistent environment, you got to toss away shit that's not good, and you know. As players from year 1, from day 1, we feel betrayed by that, not thinking, oh, hey, like, is this what they need to do to keep the game more interesting so we can be players in game day 1000 and not just, you know, 365 and done? So that's kind of that's kind of where I am.
I agree. I mean, it takes a lot to make the kind of game that Bungie is making. And it's coming from a studio that doesn't... Not that they don't have experience making shooters, but they don't have experience making a persistent online shooter like Destiny. And I do have to say, for their first, you know, entry into this genre, they're doing a pretty damn good job. The best thing that I love about what Bungie is doing is they are 100% listening to the audience. I mean, the entire like first reveal in the tower, they just kept saying, "Oh, you want more vault space? Well, maybe we'll go to the vault." I mean, granted,
it's true.
I thought that was handled poorly, but but they are listening. They do know what we want, and they are.
Well, no,
I feel like they're trying to.
Well, during that reveal, you know that they were actually watching. And they only added the vault space because enough people threw money at the screen.
No, that's
during the reveal.
That makes sense.
We threw enough, and they were like, "Yay, vault space!" No, I'm just kidding.
It's actually that's how vault space is made, by throwing money at the
screen.
By
throwing actual money at your screen.
It gets absorbed through
the
TV.
I've had a vault. I've had a huge vault space. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. I've got like 300 slots for primary weapons alone.
I mean, to be completely honest, that's how this stream works too. If you want our quality to be like 10 times better, throw money at the screen.
Throw money at the screen.
Right now. Oh, didn't get enough. Sorry, kids.
So all those negatives being said, this is a game that we consistently go back to and play the shit out of.
Yep.
Like, I've spent a
It's-
grand total of like $90 on the game, and I have put in so many hours into this game that it's like, if you broke it down, I'd probably be paying like a fraction of a cent for each hour that I have played. And will continue playing. So,
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about the story still. Like, in those like brief little moments where it gave you a hint that, or like teased you a little bit that there might be a story in the game, what were your favorite moments? Like, what were the ones that stuck with you? And I'll give you an example. I'm going to talk about "We've Woken the Hive." It's such an iconic line now that I have made it a text tone on my phone so that every time Sam texts me, I hear, "We've woken the Hive!" And he's going to his phone
Gonna
right
text
now
him
to try
now.
to text me.
Wait. Is your phone on?
No, it's not. So
Damn
it
it.
would actually... And I have headphones in. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I just... I want to hear
Wow.
what moments you guys have that stuck with you in the story so much. Like, what are your favorite moments of Destiny?
I mean, I think my highlight moment really came from House of Wolves, going through the story missions, and kind of going down into Vault of Glass. I thought that was amazing.
Oh, I do have to agree with that. I loved every
Especially,
moment of that.
especially considering how much time we spent in Vault. Because, like, I think everyone like who actually did play Vault a lot really kind of cracked it. Where I feel like Crota's End, you just figured out how to cheese it better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely.
113 hard mode completions on Atheon and, like, I think 28 hard mode completions.
Well,
on
you're talking
Crota.
specifically about the story, not
Yeah.
individual moments in the game, though, right?
Absolutely. But, I mean, what Sam's talking
Yeah,
about is still the
yeah.
story.
Is the story of it? Yeah, yeah. It
and
actually
I-
sending you back there was pretty nice.
What was even cooler is that they sent you back there, and they had the Fallen trying to harness the power of the vault. Like you had the Fallen trying to figure out how to work oracles. You had the Fallen trying to figure out how to work those teleporting, thingies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like how they basically tried to build something into it versus what they did with not bringing Vex up to like the new power level, where they were like, well, the Vex is frozen in time, and that is how Vault of Glass works. Ha ha ha! And I'm like, okay, we don't understand that story component. You never fleshed it out. Sorry, not a great excuse. Whereas, like, you see this, and you're like, oh, cool, they're harnessing it for power. Yeah.
That's
So
that's
thank
good.
you. So Skolas, really good guy. He's giving us more story.
Really good guy.
So
Good guy
my
stories.
my personal favorite story part, well, actually, my favorite moment of the game was simply the first time that you complete Atheon. That first time that we downed him,
I still
that-
have the screenshot from that.
that was like the moment where like going in there and how well done Vault of Glass was. Just how
You mean like us all sitting there with our Chatterwhites, except for me, because I didn't get a Chatterwhite drop the first time. Then I got like 10. Yeah, I think I still have that screenshot.
at least you got a helmet. Of course, I did get like G-Horn. I had G-Horns before we went in there.
I did too.
Yeah.
It
But that was
pretty
my
awesome.
favorite moment. Like the
Hey, Mafia Man.
the progression of that was great. The progression, there was story in Vault of Glass, and figure like I actually read all the different story parts of it about
The
K-Bar.
grimoire for Vault of Glass is like,
Yeah,
bar none, some of the best in the.
yeah. So to me, that was probably the best storyline for me in Year One Destiny was Vault of Glass.
Yeah. I think we could definitely. I could definitely agree with that. Let's talk a bit about these NPCs. Okay. I want to hear like which ones do you think were the best and the worst of the NPCs? Like for me, my all-time favorite NPC is oh my god, I forgot his name. Nathan Fillion's character.
Oh.
I don't remember. I want to say
But
it's
by the
Cade,
time
but
I
think
got to
that's
that
the,
character, I did not play him, or I did not need to talk to him anymore.
But like just the story of him in the grimoire is some of the best in
Cade
the game, in my
6.
opinion. It is
Cade
Cade.
6.
I was right. Like one of the grimoires that sticks out to me the most is Cade in the battle for Twilight Gap. How he's stuck on top of this hill, and Hive are essentially closing in on them, and there's only him left and this one fallen captain. And essentially they're working together because if they don't work together, they're going to die. And then at the very end, the fallen is wounded. The captain is wounded. So she's just like, I'm going to put down my gun. I'm going to go run at these fucking knights, and I'm going to try to rip them apart so that you can survive. And I think that's just one of the coolest stories. And then it flushes out even more to the point where it's like Cade is a Fallen sympathizer almost. It's like he looks at Fallen as not really an enemy, but someone that we're just fighting and we don't understand why. So like I think that's what makes him, in my opinion, the coolest character.
Wow, my answer does not have a good backstory. Just like the first year of Destiny.
What about you, Chris?
So,
I mean, do you?
So NPCs, I have two NPCs that I really, really like. And I'm just making sure I have it right. But my first one was like in vanilla, like in the actual like vanilla, there was probably one person that was the best. And it was completely unused. Wait, guess. Somebody completely unused, and it was a wonderful voice actress, and she unfortunately never got a chance to really do anything.
The Warlock advisor, right?
Claudia Black as Tess, the Special Orders voice. Every time you go in the tower, you walk up to the Special Orders desk where there's nothing waiting for you other than that stupid speeder that can flip upside down. And she's always been like, "Welcome, Guardian." And it's her voice. It's Claudia Black, underused, but it was awesome. Like, I would always like go by just so she would say hello, so I felt like I wasn't ignoring her.
She's gone.
Yeah, I know. But that was probably my favorite NPC of vanilla, just because Claudia Black's voice is amazing. But now my current...
She was Chloe in Chloe in Uncharted, right?
I think
Chloe
so. She was also... I mean, it's Claudia Black. She was in Stargate and SG-1 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But right now, my current favorite is a certain person who has a fascination with eyes. Eris Moore.
Eris Moore.
Because I think I've talked about her more than everyone. Just don't forget to bring me their eyes. Bring me the eyes. It's the funniest thing. And I mean, her story is kind of crazy too, being trapped in the hive, living in the caves, and somehow she planted a third eye in her head. Some crazy crap happened to that chick.
Yeah.
But she, just the fact that you're playing through these strikes and these stories, and she just keeps telling you, "Bring the eyes, get their eyes." Yes, that's it. It like haunts your dreams.
Sam,
okay, so mine are
boring.
Okay. So my vanilla one is definitely Lakshmi 2, the future war cult merchant. Only because I love that actress. Not going to pretend I know how to pronounce her name, because I'm looking at it at IMDb and I'm not going to even try.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, but like I just really love her voice, and part of it is like she was on like 24 season 3, which is one of my like favorite shows of all time, and so it's just kind of cool to have that little bit of throwback. My new Destiny favorite NPC is definitely the new Cryptarch, because he just talks so much shit.
So much shit.
About the other Cryptarchs.
And it's great. I think honorable mention definitely goes to some of like the robots in the tower when you just land, and if like you do nothing in the game, the robots start like talking to you and they say like really funny, ridiculous things. I can't come up with anything right now, but they definitely deserve an honorable mention. I don't even know who did the voice for any of that, but it just sounds funny. I like the random dialogue is actually not as bad as we thought.
When you
Talking
look,
about the Cryptarchs, one of my favorite things that Bungie did was the remains that you can disturb in the Skywatch.
And you saw what happened. I think it was like after House of Wolves launch on Reddit, right? It made it to the front page for a day or so.
Where someone was like, "What is this?"
There's someone was
Yeah, they
like,
were
"Dude,
confused by
I
it.
figured something out. Look at this!" And everyone was like, "You're a kindergarten."
yeah.
You weren't here from day one.
Speaking of it,
You're
did you
adorable.
see the IMDb has Peter Dinklage? Basically, it's like he's dead because when you look, it has Peter Dinklage, Ghost, 2014, 2015, and then Nolan North, 2015 to whatever. It's just fun. It's like he's done. It's like his tombstone.
Let's talk about weakest NPCs. I mean that the Ghost has got to be.
So, the weakest NPC, I think Claudia Black, Tess Everest, still the weakest NPC because she has like 3 things that she says, and you do nothing with that NPC. There was no purpose to having her in the tower at all.
They turned her into a computer.
Yeah.
Essentially, by Ava Levante.
So to me, that's my weakest. Again, how do you have Claudia Black and not use her at something cool? Shameful.
So my vote is more or less the speaker, who you go to for almost nothing. Who I think in the beginning, and someone pointed this out in another stream I was watching, where they're like, "Yeah, it's like you go to the speaker." And he's like, "Man, I could tell you about all this great stuff and all this interesting things about the Traveler,"
But I won't.
and no.
Well, that's like my favorite part about that exchange. He's like, I could tell you about this and this and this and this and this and this, but stories are just to scare little kids. It's like, come on,
What are you
dude.
doing?
Do
What
I
are you
need to
doing
go
to
ask
me?
a little kid this story? Because I don't think that'll go over well. Walking around the town around the tower, going, "Hey, little kid, want to tell me about the darkness?" I don't feel like that would go over well. I don't feel like that would go over well at all.
No, I'm going to go with a no on that one. Neither does you saying that, just so you know.
We apologize to
Yeah.
anyone watching with kids.
Or
It's
anyone
really
watching.
not that creepy.
No, not usually. Not usually. Yeah. Do we have anything else we want to add to the story? I mean, we have things. we
There's
want
a lot to
the
add to the story.
but-
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that for a day, but we can move
actually-
on, I think.
Let's talk